Happy Friday, everybody, and happy Mother's Day to all of our great Disney moms out there. Hope you have a wonderful weekend and get to celebrate with your friends and family. Today, we've got a fun Be Our Guest podcast episode headed your way. We're talking about the Walt Disney World Resorts. And Catherine over in the Be Our Guest podcast clubhouse gave us a great idea earlier this week. And she wanted to have a show about when you stay at a Walt Disney World Resort, don't forget to take advantage of some of the kind of hidden amenities or activities that you can experience while you're at that resort. So for example, when you're at Riverside, don't forget they have cane pole fishing, and you can get a carriage ride with a horse-drawn carriage while you're over there. Or when you're staying at the cabins like Scotty G is going to do this Thanksgiving, don't forget that you can rent a golf cart and spin around and have a good time doing that at the resort, or visit the horses at the Tricycle D Ranch. So we're going to go resort to resort, not all of them, but some resorts today, and talk about some of those things you might have forgotten that you can do at these Walt Disney World Resorts. Don't forget, today's show always brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, or Adventures by Disney vacation. Here's the best part. No additional cost to you, and you're going to get lots of little goodies for booking with the agency. So check them out today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. That really supports us throughout the year. It's one click that really supports the show. Easiest way to support us. Just click through beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you so much to our Patreon supporters. Just $5 a month really does help us out. And as a thank you, we'll give you a bonus show every week. It's called Mike in the Midwest. So come on over and support us. Patreon.com/beourguestpodcast.
Ready to take a trip to the world? You found the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. This is where your memories come front and center on our podcast stage.
Welcome to episode 2485 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from beourguestpodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Friday to you. It's Fajita Friday in these parts of the world. As you know, if you come over to the clubhouse, I make sure to post that guy that's got the maracas and the big sombrero over there just to keep everybody honest, so you know where I'm headed on a Friday evening. I get there when all the honest people get there, about 4:30, beat the crowds, get in, get out, and, have a good time on a Friday. I don't know how you do your Fridays, but we hope that it always starts with a great episode of the Be Our Guest podcast. We give our 100%, whether it's great, that's up to you to determine. But I promise you, we are going to give our best effort today. And those folks giving their best effort right alongside me, as they have for years and years, we have our friend Ricky, and she is from themouseforless.com and a DisneyWorldAfterAll.com, where you can get all your Disney news, and there's plenty of it this week. Ricky, happy Friday.
It's a newsy week for sure. That's one thing that's certain. Happy Friday. Yeah, excited about getting to celebrate my second Mother's Day. So
Yes.
Very excited
Happy
for that.
Happy Mother's Day to you.
Thank you. And I know Brian has been talking about what to do, and he had some good ideas. He had some ideas that caused me a little bit of stress, and I said, I appreciate the thought of this idea, but maybe not this year. Like let's try it when we don't have a toddler who's running around everywhere now. So let's go a different route where I don't feel
that never ends. I mean, mine's 16 and has her own car and license, and she runs everywhere. I still never see her at this point.
Yeah,
so.
that part's fine. I mean, I'm cool with that, but it's
Never
just
ends.
the fact that I have to make sure. Well, I mean, granted, I'm sure when she's 16, you still have to make sure she doesn't hurt herself. But at this stage, I really have to make sure she's not hurting herself. So make sure she's not sticking her finger in light sockets. That's where I'm at.
Dude, when they're 16, they're just as likely to lick a light socket. I mean, they're not much.
That's a good point.
The common sense does not move very much between 2 and 16. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The stuff she says, she got her the other day somehow, because she has a job now, right? She works at a boutique, which is so on point for her, because she's like a diva, and so somehow the direct deposit didn't work for one of her checks, and so they had to mail her a physical paper check. And you should have seen how this rocked her world, that they mailed her a physical check like she had no idea what to do with this thing. Like, what is this? Like, what do I do with this? I'm like, you deposit a check.
You put it
What's
in the
that
bank.
mean? How do I spin this? I'm like,
Yikes.
well, first of all, you need to save some of that money. Okay, well, that's not really the lesson right now. We're trying to figure out what you do with this, and I'll tell you, I said it's a lot easier. And of course, here I am, right? It's a lot easier than it used to be. All you gotta do right now is take a picture of it with your phone, and
Right?
boom, it's in your
so
account.
easy now.
Then what do I do with the check? I'm like, well, now you just put it in your drawer, for safekeeping for a little while. I don't know. You're probably never going to use it. You're probably not going to need it, but just put it in a drawer. Why? I don't know, just because, and
Make sure the money goes through. If it doesn't, then you put the check back in.
and then she asked me, like, how does it work? I don't know. It's magic. And, I really don't know how that works when you take a picture of it. But she's like, well, why do I got to sign it? I'm like, because you had to sign a thing at the bank, right? When you open the account. She's like, no, I did it all online. I go to Pam because Pam did it with her. Did you guys not go to the bank and like sign like a paper? She's like, no, we actually did it all online. I'm like, well, this is like scam. I'm like, I don't even know how this is all working. Anyway, so that's
Now you
the
do
story.
wonder why you got to sign the back of a check now.
I
if
don't know.
If it's like direct deposit, you're not signing the back of the check anymore.
Dude, See, now I'm going back with it.
picture,
Exactly.
The back of the check.
I feel like I'm like 3 days ago with Mallory. Okay, Rick, Scott's here as well. I'm glad Scott has a daughter the same age as Mallory because we're going through a lot of the same things at the same time. We're like a support group for each other. Scotty G, my favorite new vlogger up in Michigan. What's up, Scott?
Happy Friday, everyone. Glad we made it to the weekend. Happy Mother's Day to all those fantastic mothers out there, to Ricky, of course. And yeah, just happy to close out the week with you all. It's been a long week. Glad we finally made it to Friday.
Do you agree, though, Scott, real quick, that high school should teach lessons on things like checking accounts and just like common sense stuff? Both of our girls get exceptional grades. They take advanced classes, honors classes. They get, like honor students, right? Stuff like that. But like that stuff, like she's in National Honor Society and dude, they mailed her a paper check and her world stopped. Like that shouldn't happen.
I know it is kind of funny, isn't it? And like our company tries to, do stuff like that at like a younger ages too. Like we go and we do volunteer events for junior achievement. We try to teach about money and like simple skills, like for students, and like I feel like that could go beyond elementary because you might forget some of those simple skills you learned when that weird guy came in from the big insurance company and shared stories, So I don't know. But speaking of like teenage daughters, like we're going on a college visit tomorrow.
Oh my gosh.
On Saturday to the school that I don't even want to name, but you know what school I'm talking about. It's,
is Desmond Howard leading your tour?
he better hope not. So it'll be fun, like it'll be fun. But to tour that school, I guess. Honestly, it's probably where Emily is going to end up. Academically, it is a much better school than the one in my backyard. And Emily, as you were just saying, is just like lights out student, like the best student you could ever ask for. So it'll be fun to tour the Ann Arbor campus, I suppose. But yeah, so looking forward to that. And then yeah, Mother's Day weekend, it's gonna be a good weekend for sure.
Oh my gosh, that's great. If Mallory even brought up the word Kansas in this house, it would be so. I've told her you're not allowed. Like, don't even think about it. Like, there's no, it's not. I don't care how good or whatever. It's not happening. She's looking.
It's all right. 20 years ago, I would have felt differently, but it's all good now. It's all good. But we'll see. We'll just see how it goes. Maybe she'll hate the campus, you never know.
Yeah, that's
you
true.
Never know what kids think.
Mallory
I hated the first campus that I thought I was going to go to school at. And I got there and I'm like, yeah, this is not for me. So you never know. Mallory's
looking at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Oxford.
We are going to Michigan State. We're going to go to some other schools. We might go to one when we go in St. Louis just for her to see is there like a Washington somewhere?
Wash
in
U?
St. Louis?
Yeah.
Yeah, we might just look
dude,
at that because it's over there.
That school is expensive, dude. I'm just saying, you better get lost
But
scholarships.
she gets stuff from them all the time.
Yeah, I'm saying it's good. It's a great school.
She gets stuff from some crazy schools. Like University of Chicago is another one where they have like a insane acceptance rate. Like very few people get it, but they like pushed her like no other. So like I'm curious to see what these schools look like a little bit. We probably wouldn't go there because they're expensive, but it'd be good for her to check out.
Hey, I have a kid in Chicago. I mean, yeah. We both have a kid in Chicago. Anyway, you're here for Disney. We're not here to talk college. So what we're doing today, we're talking Walt Disney World Resorts. We know that we have a lot of friends out there who love the resort experience as much as the theme park experience. And we've kind of talked about this. I think the more you go to Walt Disney World, your enjoyment, like it's like a sliding scale. I think you start to maybe enjoy the resorts more than the theme parks the more you visit. At least that's how it's been for me. When I first started going to Walt Disney World, it was theme park. That was all I worried about. Like the resort was like, okay, that's kind of fun. It's where I sleep. It's where I shower. Maybe I'll jump in the pool. But it was all about going to the theme parks. Now when I go down, the theme parks are secondary. I enjoy the pools. I enjoy the restaurants. I enjoy the room. I just enjoy chilling at my resort and going. And on top of that, visiting the other resorts that I'm not staying at and just kind of touring them and just relaxing a little more. And I think Walt Disney World over the past couple of decades has added to these resorts to give you more to do and to make them just fun to tour. So today what we're going to do, and this was brought up by Catherine over in the clubhouse. I got it right for the first time. Keep forgetting her name. But we got over the Discord, and she had a great idea for a topic, and we're going to use this today. When you stay at a particular resort, there are things you got to make sure you don't miss while you're there, because there's a lot of activities and things that you might forget to do. And we're talking about this because Scott headed down to Walt Disney World this Thanksgiving, staying over at the cabins. And we're talking about that because, like we're both 12-year-olds sometimes. And I said, Scott, dude, you're staying at the cabins. You got to get a golf cart. I mean, that's why you get a cabin. You got to get a golf cart. Like everyone wants to drive a golf cart around the loops and drive it down and park it in front of Crockett's Tavern and get a beer or whatever. And, be able to just roll back to your cabin and have a good night there, and be able to see that kind of stuff. So we're thinking about like when you stay at X resort, don't forget to do Y, and kind of have a topic like that today. So let's start at Fort Wilderness real quick at the cabins, the whole Fort Wilderness scene. So is there anything else you want to say not to miss when you're at Fort Wilderness? Because Scott, you're doing research there because you're staying at the cabins. Besides golf carts, making it like a Super Mario Kart or whatever that Nintendo game is. What else?
So a sleeper thing for me here that I think people overlook. I mean, you got the obvious, like, gotta do hoop-de-doo, you know? I mean, that's just the culture of staying at the fort. One thing I'm going to say that you have to do is watch Happily Ever After from the fort, like over at the boat dock. We did this on our last trip. We talked about it on the trip report, I think, a little bit, but we found a nice table where we just sat down. It was kind of raining, so we had the cover, so that was really good. And I think we talked about it in the Discord too, like the closer you are to like the boats, the louder the music is, the further back you are, you don't hear it as well. But either way, like as long as you're in that general area, you can sort of hear the music, and it's so peaceful. And I love watching fireworks shows like with reflection of the water. It makes me think of like Illuminations a little bit, to be honest. I just love I watch that more than I actually watch the fireworks in the sky. I watch the reflection more. And it's just a cool experience, and it's so quiet and peaceful. And then boom, you're already at your resort.
You've won at the end of the show because you're home.
Yeah, you're home. You can go to like the I call it a gift shop. It might have like another name.
It's
like
the trading post. It's the trading post. You're at a campground. It's the trading post. Yeah.
You go to the trading post, maybe pick up a little something for the night. Go back to your cabin and start a fire. Like it's just gonna be.
You're living.
It's like the perfect night.
You got to have a full beard by the end of that trip. Like you're like Davy Crockett.
I should grow it out. Yeah,
totally. You're gonna be like Grizzly Adams.
I feel like that is a must do if you're staying at the cabin. Like stay away from the park one night and just watch Happily Ever After from your resort in peace and quiet. It'll be really great.
Good call. Ricky, you have anything else for Fort Wilderness?
Yeah, so I actually have two. One kind of ties in with what Scott was talking about. So they have the Chip and Dale sing-along, like campfire sing-along thing. You could do that and then go see the fireworks, which I think would be a really great way to spend your evening.
Twofer.
Yes, exactly, a twofer. But the other thing that I was thinking about was the fact that, Fort Wilderness does have the Tri-Circle D Ranch, which is a very unique thing to Walt Disney World. It's where all the Disney horses go. So, if you ever see a horse pulling Cinderella carriage, that's going to be the horse that is going to live there. Or, if you want to do a pony ride, you can do that there. There's so many different animals and horses that you can see at the Tri-Circle D Ranch. and you can only do it at Fort Wilderness. So I think that that's a really good option for people, especially horse lovers, because there's a lot of horses there. But you know, that's something that is not talked about a lot. And they actually just redid the Tricycle D Ranch too. Right during COVID or right after COVID, somewhere around there, it got redone. So it's a brand new, stable, brand new area for you to go explore. So it's probably really nice too. Oh, stop.
Nay. Okay.
No. Awful.
Nay. Okay. I thought I saw a headline the other day that they've stopped booking the horse excursions, but
Oh,
maybe
you know what?
not.
They might have stopped booking horse excursions for the time being. You're right. That
I don't
might
know
have
why
just
that
happened.
was though. I just saw the headline because I
think,
I was on Twitter and I was running on the treadmill, and so I
It's
did
because
not
they
click
knew
the
I was
article.
coming and they knew that was going to be
True.
trouble.
But
So.
it could be. I mean, no, they didn't
You
say
can still
for
see
how
the
long,
horses
so,
probably. I mean,
you
like
know.
I because back in the day I used to stay at Wilderness Lodge and I'd run over on that path to Fort Wilderness, and I just like running past Tricycle D because you can see the horses just in the stables and just like in the corrals, you know, just see the
Exactly.
horses like walking around. I mean, you could smell them from a mile away if you like
Hey,
pretend like you're a
There's
cowboy.
that too.
I mean, you totally. Okay, Ricky, give us a resort and something not to miss at that resort.
So I think, you know, I'm gonna go with one that's actually pretty common, but I really think that it's a great resort, and it's Disney's Pop Century. And I'm gonna say don't miss in the afternoon. A lot of times they, you know, you got to be there, but a lot of times they will do like the hustle, or they will
They
do
do.
like different dances that were popular during that time frame. I know that the hustle is a big one that they always end up doing though.
I love that
Again,
song.
not something that's very advertised at, or maybe advertised at all, but it's just a fun thing that really is on point with the theme of the resort. And I really think that it's a unique thing that the resort does.
That is such a good song. It's underrated. Yeah, it is good. I don't know if you're going to come back from the Magic Kingdom to do it.
You're not going to come back. I mean, I don't think a lot of these things you're going to come back to the Magic Kingdom for, but you know, if you're there, I would definitely say that that would be something to
Dude, that
not
was so
miss.
it's so funny though, because like I love like something like that. Like I love when somebody's totally like they don't even know they're at Pop Century, right? They just think they're at a hotel, and
Yes.
all of a sudden they're just trying to get a soda, you know, and like all of a sudden everybody pops. It's like a flash mob. Like
It is totally like
boom,
a flash mob.
all of a sudden yeah, all the people are doing the hustle. Like where am I? Yeah, okay, so
Yep.
that's a good one. I'm trying to think. So I'll throw one in for Pop, and this so Pop and Art are kind of together. Pop, don't forget to walk over to Art across
Yeah.
the Hourglass Bridge.
Mhm.
Great place to run, by the way. If you're ever going to run around the loop around Hourglass Lake. But also check out all the icons, especially in the Cars section at Art of Animation, and get your picture because you got all the characters in the Cars movies, just almost like in Cars Land at DCA.
Yeah.
You got Lightning McQueen.
like a mini
you got
Cars Land.
it is. You got Fillmore. You got the old grumpy black car. I don't know who he is. The old sheriff, the old has-been guy that trains Lightning McQueen. I'm not good at names, but they're all there. The Jeep, because I drive a Jeep. I love the Jeep guy. But then you also got, you know, you can't swim there if you're not staying at Art. You got to be staying at Art to swim there. But even if you're staying in the Little Mermaid rooms, walk down to the Cars pool and take advantage of those cones, the cozy cones. It's like it's the poor man's cabana. Think about that. If you were on Castaway Key, you'd be spending $800 for that sucker. It's free at Art of Animation. You're at a value hotel. You're winning. Take that.
There
Just
it is.
saying. That's how I think. But yeah, visit. If you're at Art or Pop, make sure you get pictures. Because I'm telling you what, man, that car section, they knocked it out of the park. It's so
They did.
that one year they did the springtime surprise. It was last year, not this past year, but the year before. They did the Pixar theme, and the 5K was the Cars theme. I took my medals over there and got all pictures in that section. It was so fun. So that's what I got. Scott, anything else for Pop Art stuff?
Yeah, it's funny. That was actually going to be the one I was going to pick. So thank you.
Hey,
Ricky,
you're
for
welcome.
that.
Yeah.
So I actually wrote down like 4 things. I don't know if I need to go that crazy, but a walk along Hourglass Lake was definitely one of them, Mike. Like, even if you're not a runner, just doing that loop and crossing that bridge is just so cool, especially in the morning. If you can like wake up early in the morning, you're going to see a lot of runners. So like stay on one side because they're all going to be running like Mike. That's crazy, you know, running on vacation and all that. But yeah, just take a walk along there. One thing I put down here, because like I think of this with Pop, and you see this at a lot of other resorts, but make a Mickey tie-dye shirt. I think that's like one of the coolest things. And me and Beth did it once at Pop Century while like my girls were like swimming or whatever, and like Beth wanted to make a tie dye. Like, yeah, I'll do that with you, and that was so much fun. And like, it just seems better when you do it at Pop Century. I feel like because of like the 60s and everything, you know. So I love doing a tie dye. It costs a little extra. There is a little fee with that, but I still think it's worth it. It's just a cool experience that, especially you got young kids, I think they're always going to be talking about that time where they were with mom and dad and made the tie dye shirts.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was just going to throw one other one out there, kind of weird maybe, but if you're a drinker, and even if you don't drink alcohol, you know, you can get a mocktail or whatever. I love the Pedals Pool Bar.
Think it's underrated.
It's very underrated. And there's something about that. I love the look of it. It's all colorful. It's right by the main pool there. And I'll tell you, I've had some of my favorite cast interaction at that bar. Like, I just pull up to a stool, get a mocktail, get a cocktail, whatever it is, get a soda, whatever it is. Just talk to that bartender, and they're going to tell you some great stories, and you're just going to have a great time for 20, 30 minutes just interact with them. It is a cool thing to do, I think, at Pop Century. It's a must-do for me.
I have a philosophy about pedals, and this is just a hot take. I think because it's a value resort and a lot of athletic teams like stay at the values, and also values tend to have younger families, right? With younger kids that are just like, a lot of times it's like first time vacationers to Walt Disney World too. A lot of times you will see stressed moms or dads at pedals that they had no idea what they were getting themselves into when they went to Walt Disney World. These people need a drink worse than anybody on the planet. Like, they've come back from the parks and they have been through the ringer, man. They just like the Magic Kingdom or Epcot or the studios, or especially Animal Kingdom in July, just rang them out today. Dude, they need an alcoholic beverage like nobody has ever needed a drink in their life. And you get the stories from that.
Dude, you get so many great stories, and just that atmosphere with the pool behind you, like the music. Like, I just think that is one of the and I'm glad you dinged and you agreed with me, Mike. That is one of the most underappreciated like bars at Walt Disney World, I think. Like, because you think like, oh, it's a value resort or whatever, but it is so cool. I just love pedals. It's just fun, you know. It's just fun to me.
And you never
like
have
the whole
wait.
resort. That I always, if you ever just sum up Pop Century, it's just fun. That's all it is.
It is high energy and fun. All right, so I'm going to go Riverside. There's a few for Riverside. Don't forget, don't sleep on these things to do at Riverside. One, Riverside has horse-drawn carriages most times of the year. Clip, clop, clip, clop. And this is something that you can either do actively or passively. So actively, you can actually book this and take a ride around the little pathways around Riverside, which would be super romantic. Is this romantic? Absolutely. Even in the heat of July, you could do that. So that'd be fun. That's one of the places you can do that. Also Fort Wilderness, but Fort Wilderness, there's like a wagon. So that's a little bit more rustic. This is more of like, it's not Cinderella's coach, but it's more of like, actually, this is what my wife came into at our wedding. It's a nice little carriage. So that's, and it also what I say by doing it passively, just having this experience at Riverside makes the resort cooler, because even if you're just like on the other side of the Sasagula over by the mansions and you look across the river and you see this horse-drawn carriage and you hear the clip clop, it's just perfect. Like, it's like, is that real? Like, that makes the whole experience better for everybody. So I love that. You have the fishing hole, which you can do catch and release cane fishing. I've never done that, and I regret it because, well, one, I guess you got to take the fish off yourself. I'm not big on touching fish. Has anybody done that?
No.
That's what, because we've gone fishing many times.
Fish either.
No, I'm not either. No.
Scott and I have gone fishing with Mark Yerkes many times on the pontoons. Like, but the good news is, like, what is it? Mark that usually goes with us. That
it's Mark.
Mark always hooks us up. He doesn't make us touch the fish though. Like, he'll take them off our hook.
I love Mark for that.
Yeah, for real, dude. Because
I mean, for other reasons too.
Yeah,
but that was a big one for me.
But I'm not a big fisherman, and like if I catch a big one, dude, he'll unhook that sucker. Like, I will hold it because, like, I'm not that wimpy. I'll hold it and get a picture. Slimy sucker. But and I've even kissed him, which I can't believe I've done that. But you got to do it. You got to man up sometimes for the picture, and then you toss them back in. But if I'm out there on my own with a cane pole, I don't know what I would do. So, but it looks kind of fun. So I've never done that, but you can do that right there by the river. And so those, and I'll save some of the other ones, but Riverside, those are two things. So you clap the carriage ride, and you can cane fishing, catch and release over Riverside. Anything else, Scott, for Riverside that you think of?
Well, the obvious one for me, Ricky might use this one too, but you have to take a ride along the Sassagoula and take a boat ride over to Disney Springs.
Yes.
I would argue that is one of my favorite rides
Absolutely.
in all of Walt Disney World, behind the monorail to Epcot. That is just one of my favorite things to do, because you go to the resorts, you see one of my favorite golf courses, you see the LVV golf course, you see Saratoga. It's just so relaxing, and you could time it right if you get really lucky. It's got to be mostly like a colder night, because most people aren't going to want to take a boat on a cold night. But me and Liz have been on that boat, just the two of us, at night once. And you want to talk about a February 14th is this romantic episode. That was like as romantic as it gets. Like, I almost tipped the guy like $10 as we got off. Like, hey, thanks for
thanks for a great tip. Thanks for a great idea.
It was but that is like a very cool thing. So I would say try it both ways. Try it during the day and try it at night too, because it's just a cool atmosphere when you're on that boat ride to Disney Springs.
And for Disney geeks like us, it's cool seeing the tree houses too.
Yeah.
History. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ricky, also, I have a thing for Spanish moss everywhere.
Oh.
I love Spanish moss.
You and Liz always talks about the Spanish moss.
I don't know what it is. I love it.
Spanish moss too, actually. So yeah,
it's all over, like on that boat ride. I mean, it's all over Riverside, but especially when you go down the Sassagoula towards Disney Springs, dude, it's Spanish moss, like a dream, come true.
It is.
Ricky, what else for Riverside or that area?
I mean, I feel like you have to mention, going and I'm seeing, at Rehab Bob. I mean, duh, that has to be the biggest one. And if you want to throw in, French Quarter, going over to it's the bar over there too, the Muddy Rivers.
Scat Cat.
Yeah, Scat Cat.
Scat Cat Lounge. How was that?
What is Muddy Rivers over there?
There's Muddy Rivers, but Muddy Rivers, but I think it's a Scat Cat Lounge.
It is the Scat Cat Lounge. You're right, that has that. But then I was going to say, you got to get some beignets too. So, I feel like just all of that, like the entertainment at both Port Orleans resorts is just on point. So I feel like you really, really need to experience both of those. So I'm throwing in, French Quarter entertainment too, but I mean, you really do have to see Bob. He's just so much fun and just a huge ball of energy. Trust me, I don't know how that man gets through, has that much energy throughout the whole night, but he sure does. So good for him. Go Bob.
If you follow Bob on social media, that guy travels the world. And
he does. It's incredible.
Climbs. By the way, if you've seen him out of his Yeehaw Bob costume, it's just Bob Jackson. He is ripped.
He is. You're not lying.
So he looks like a scrawny little skinny dude in that Yeehaw Bob outfit that he wears at Riverside. This dude is jacked, and he's older because he performs at Disney Springs sometimes. Not as Yeehaw Bob, but as Bob Jackson, and he wears just regular clothes. He's ripped. And he also travels the world, and he does a lot of volunteer work for a lot of organizations. He is a great man. But I mean, like, I've seen him, like, he's traveled the world, like, Asia, and climbed mountains. I mean, this guy is like a Renaissance man, and he is so talented. It's unbelievable. Yeah, it's unreal. But also, one thing I'll say for, like, the Port Orleans, like, little combo here, make sure if you're over at French Quarter, walk the little streets at night while the jazz music is playing and the lights are on. It is, again, romantic.
That is so great. But it's weird when you're doing a Run Disney event and you're there at 2:30 in the morning walking through those streets and you're just like, oh no, like I don't want to go run a race now. I just want to stay here.
Forget the race.
It doesn't get you like psyched for a race, man. It just makes you like, man, I just want to grab a park bench and just
I agree.
Listen.
100% agree. It does not give you much encouragement to leave the resort.
But it's so good.
I
so
agree.
good.
All right, Scotty G, give us a resort and let's go again.
All right, so the way you phrased this, Mike, so you said, when you stay at Animal Kingdom Lodge, you have to do Y.
Yep.
Yes.
So for me, I'll get us started. And I believe they still do this. So that would be awful if they don't do this. And here I am saying it. But it's like the string of like activities, like where you can do all these things. There's like a Simba game that you can play where you got to go find Simba. You can get food ready for some of the animals. There's like this string of activities, and we wrote a blog post like way back in the day.
I remember that. Yeah.
Maybe I'll have to bring that one up for people to look, but like, it's so cool. And you just do all these fun, different things throughout the resort. It is a must do for me because you're staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge. It's very animal-like. You do all these things, and there's things at both too. There's things that Jumbo and Kidani you can do to fill your string of activities, and that is a absolute must-do when you're staying at the lodge.
What do you got, Scott or Ricky, for Animal Kingdom Lodge? Anything else?
Yeah, I mean, of course, if you're not staying there, which you should stay there, but if you're not, you can always go out and look at the savannah that's there and see the animals. A lot of times we'll go do this at night before we go to dinner, which is what we just did when we were there recently. And, it's really interesting to just go out there and watch the animals as they're, eating their dinner or whatever. And, just learn. They have some cast members out there. You can learn different things from the cast members about the animals that are on the savannah that you see, and sometimes the ones that you don't. And it's just a really cool experience. And then, of course, as I have mentioned before, make sure you stop at if you're not dining at Belmont, and okay, even if you are, make sure you stop at one of the gift shops and pick up a 4-pack of zebra domes, which are just the most delicious little desserts ever. I might have eaten mine for breakfast, but that's okay. Then, that's a fair, it's vacation, right? So, but you definitely want to pick up a little packet of zebra domes to take back with you to your resort.
It's a side for your cold pasta.
Yeah, then you can eat the cold pasta for sure with the zebra domes. No, those are much better cold.
I would also add for the main, for Jumbo, everybody kind of worries about the lobby, which the lobby's grand and beautiful and everything, but go down the wings where the guest rooms are, and every so often there's window kind of breaks where you can kind of look out on areas. But in those window breaks, there are cultural items in display in the middle, and real artifacts from Africa. And you can learn a lot about African art, and they explain, where this came from, what part of Africa, why it is significantly important to the culture. And it's a good way to, I don't know that stuff. And, I don't get that out. I don't go to a lot of museums in my regular life. I'm just busy, I'd like to, but you're at home. When you're at home, you just don't do those things, right? You just kind of get into the everyday. You're working and you're going to sporting events, but I mean, you have time when you're on vacation. Take 5 minutes, look at what they put on display, look at the mask or whatever it is, and see, what's the significance of why this is the way it is, why it's got the feathers, why it's got that kind of paint, and stuff like that. So it's almost like a little museum inside of Jumbo House. If you go down the long, it's like boardwalk corridors, because we've had the last room one time, and I swear I should have got a medal by the end of that stay, because I walked 5K every day. It was crazy. But I would say that is one of the tips for Animal Kingdom Lodge. But I want to get a couple more in. Let's go to Old Key West. Now, one of the things I'll say for Old Key West is that, again, this is like a little community, that there are activities to do at Old Key West, like little sports. Like there's tennis courts. You can play pickleball there. You can, I think there's a tree there. Scott showed me this tree that I think it was there from like when the resort opened, and Scott just had to duck out here for a second. But there's a tree that has culture, like not cultural, but like significance to when the resort opened, and it's got a marker. And I remember going and taking my picture with that tree. So go check out. It's right there next to the pool. Scott, you're back. Can you tell me the tree at Old Key West that's kind of by the feature pool? What's that tree?
Yeah, sorry. We were like checking in for a cruise.
No, I got you. I knew that was what it was, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Do it because we had to side note, so we had to upload all these photos of each other, and I'm like, I can't really upload a photo right now while I'm podcasting. So I was trying to relay all the information to Elizabeth so she can start doing it. But yeah, so the tree by the pool, that's the DVC tree. It's for the members.
Yeah, and that's one of the things you go check out. I mean, I'm not even DVC, but I thought that tree was pretty cool. It's right there by the pool, and it's there's a hammock over there right next to the pool. I like that.
Very cool. Very cool. It's one of my favorite spots. But yeah, even as a non-DVC member, you can appreciate that, because it's just a cool thing to see that they planted that tree. And then I think there's another one that was like planted for like the 25th anniversary of the Disney Vacation Club, because that was the first resort too. So that's a really neat thing to check out.
So you want to throw anything for Old Key West? I know it's like your favorite place.
Man, I'm kind of scared to, give away some of my secrets, but but we're all friends here, right? So we can definitely do that. So one of my absolute favorite things to do is go to the quiet pools at night, and you'll be surprised at how very few people. I've had I've had a whole pool to ourselves for like over an hour once at night at Old Key West, and they're nicely heated. And their quiet pools have hot tubs, believe it or not, which is another great thing about Old Key West. Like you never see a hot tub at a quiet pool at any of the resorts. So you can bounce back and forth between the pool and the hot tub depending on the time of year too. It is just so peaceful, and the one I'm particularly thinking of, it looks over the Sasagula, so you can see the boats coming by like while you're in the pool or in the hot tub. Is just one of my favorite thing to do to wind out at night is go to Gurgling Suitcase. I'll throw that out there too. You gotta stop by the lounge and then go over to the pool and just have a nice relaxing night. Just one of my favorite things to do.
Speaking of quiet pools, there's that one quiet pool. Is it Turtle Pond that has like a hot snack bar?
Yeah, so that's like a second featured pool.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Man. It's got good food. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like on the opposite end of the resort. It's kind of by the fourth hole of the Lake Buena Vista. Yeah, it has like, and you can get the chicken. You can get the chicken.
I'm
there,
saying,
like on a chicken sandwich.
Dude, that was rocking because when we stayed there that time, I was like, dude, it's got a hot snack bar and it's like not the feature pool either.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man,
it was rocking.
So
Ricky, anything for Old Key West?
At Old Key West, obviously, because it is a resort that is kind of a family resort. They do, I believe, they still do Surrey bikes. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, you can do Surrey bikes.
And
I believe
regular
you
bikes.
Now, here's the other question: can you rent boats anymore? Because I know that used to be a thing, but I don't know if that's a thing anymore at Disney at all. So that's a disappointment. I wish they'd bring that back because as a whole other side note, when a few years ago, obviously before COVID, Brian and I were able to rent those water bikes or boats that you could go out on the Seven Seas Lagoon on. That was so much fun. Oh my gosh. But I can completely probably understand why they don't do it anymore because it was probably just a huge liability because you have idiots like me and Brian out there on a little boat and the giant boats, ferry boats
still
coming
can't.
through.
That's another thing that doesn't seem like it's a great idea. But,
Yeah,
but I mean, the canoes still go at Disneyland, so.
That was definitely something that I wish they'd bring back, but maybe I can understand why they don't. But then there's also things like hair wrap stations that you can do, like that are available on the weekends and things like that. So there's always something. I feel like there's always some sort of unique activity that's going on at Old Key West that you just kind of have to, because it's a resort that is a DVC resort and obviously the original DVC resort. I feel like they have more unique family time activities like this for guests to be able to do. So make sure you stop off at the front desk and see what activities they have for the day.
I just got to throw in another quick one here, Mike, because this is a completely 100% Mike thing to do. So you'll love this. Is especially at night. Again, like I love the resorts at night. That's my jam.
Yeah.
But you go to Goods to Go, which is the little counter service place right next to the Gurgling Suitcase, and you order an ice cream. Like I love their soft serve that they have at Goods. It's late at night. You go get an ice cream, and that whole seating area with like the lights is so fun. Like they have all this great, like these benches and these high top tables. You grab one of those, grab one closer to like the Olivia's like patio. And then if you look out to the left towards the Sasagula, and if you time it right around 9:00, you might see some Epcot fireworks. And then you got your ice cream and fireworks show right there with a great atmosphere at Old Key West. One of my favorite things to do.
I agree. This show has unintentionally kind of been like a little sensory visiting the resorts. I'm picturing Olivia's. I'm picturing the background loop. I'm picturing coming back on a boat from Disney Springs. I love that hotel. I love that resort. The community. There. I know, same. It's great. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's do one last one, and then we'll save the rest for another day. Kind of a rainy day here. It's good, Catherine. Great topic. Great idea for this show. Let's talk about the Riviera. How about the Riviera?
Oh,
so while you're there's a lot to do at this resort. Yeah. Obviously, one of the newest and also the DVC resorts umbrella. They have that community center, right? That's going to have for the DVC members to enjoy the board games, the library, the things that are kind of to do there. If you're staying there for non-theme park events, Scott, you could speak to that more because you are DVC, just things to take advantage of, like family things, right? Like arts and crafts. So much
fun. Like I almost said that with Old Key West, but you can tie this into all the
Mallory resorts. Always raved about this because she do these things with Emily.
The community centers are so much fun. And the The Riviera one is like kind of tucked away. It's like on the ground floor, kind of by Primo Piatto's on the ground floor, I think, right? Because I think it's like right by there. It's like in this little nook. Kind of hard to find. Sadly, there's a relic next to it that wasn't available very long at the Riviera, and that's the airline check-in. It's like right next to it.
Oh
man,
that's right.
Gosh, I missed that so much. But and when you consider Riviera, it opened like in late 2019, so probably like not very many guests probably took advantage of that.
It's probably pretty spick and span.
Yeah, you do cool things in there, like you make arts and crafts. Like one of our favorite things to do in those community centers, which you can do at the Riviera, is like make these like magnets. Like we love like coloring these like character magnets. Because then you go to especially you have a 1-bedroom villa, you got a refrigerator, you can decorate your refrigerator with them. You take them home, like it's a fun little souvenir. But yeah, I like that you call that out, Mike, because there's endless amounts of activities that you can do in those community centers, and Riviera has a fantastic one for sure.
All right, so take over Riviera. Give us one other thing maybe to do there as we kind of close the show.
I mean, my ultimate one, and everyone that's passed through there at some point has seen this. I love playing bocce ball at the Riviera. Ricky's kind of nodding. I might have stole that one from her, but right outside of Primo Piatto, you got the bocce ball court, and like you have some other games. They might have like a chess or a checkers, I think, out there, but in particular, the bocce one is my favorite because that is like a nice, like well-maintained, like long little court, and literally, like I said, that it's a long court, and it's just fun with the atmosphere and everything with people walking by. That is just a brilliant place to play bocce.
I don't even know the rules of bocce, but
you like how I threw in a brilliant in there though for Simon and our friends in the UK.
There you go.
Cheers, Ricky. Close us out, Riviera.
I mean, they have at the Riviera, they have the fantastic little areas that are areas on the sand that you can go sit and just lounge and relax. They have really great chairs. They have swings. They have just a bunch of different areas that fit, any type of lounging that you'd like to do, basically, and just enjoy. And I think that that's kind of one of the best parts is you can watch people walk by, you can relax, you can take a nap, you can read, you can do whatever there. But it's really just that perfect place to just settle in and have a nice, fantastic, relaxing afternoon.
And I would say my final thing for the Riviera is don't forget, check out Caribbean Beach. You might say, well, I'm staying at a deluxe resort. Caribbean Beach is a moderate, might not want to walk over there. The Caribbean Beach has a nice little gift shop. It's got a nice food court, maybe to have a meal one day. I know it's not Primo Piatto. They're kind of different beasts though, mobile order something from Caribbean Beach's food court, have a lunch over there. Just walk through, can't swim at their pool, but check out just walk through the center, the heart of Caribbean Beach. There's like a boardwalk through the center there as you go towards the Skyliner, and just check it out. Just check out the amenities over Caribbean Beach. That's what I would say. So we have other resorts we didn't get to, but we can do that on another show. But I think it was kind of fun to explore some of the Walt Disney World resorts, and maybe one or two of these things you might remember to do on your next trip, and just make a couple more hours a little bit more fun on your next vacation. We hope.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, hey, let's have a great weekend, everybody. And, got to make sure I wrap something up for Pam. Got the gift here in the studio. Got to make sure it gets, cause this one actually takes a little bit of work and probably still has work to do before Sunday. So got to get at it. Got to get Paige. In other words, got to get Paige and Mallory getting at it for me so I don't get in trouble. All right, so we're going to get out of here. Don't forget, we're going to be having this conversation on the Discord in the Be Our Guest Podcast Clubhouse. Join us today, beourguestpodcast.com/Discord. We'll be looking for you. Today's show brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next Disney adventure, whether it's down to Walt Disney World, out to Disneyland, sailing with the Disney Cruise Line, or seeing the world with Adventures by Disney. Just swing by the website over at themagicforless.com, mention the show, and we'll be planning a great trip together. Again, magicforless.com. Also, please use our Amazon affiliate link. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you to our Patreon supporters. You guys are the best. Thank you again for that support. Just $5 a month, and you can really help us out with all this cost for the video hosting, the audio hosting, and all the bandwidth and all that good stuff. And as a thank you, you get a bonus show every week. It's called Mike in the Midwest. So coming over, support us, patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. We'll have a live call-in show this weekend. It's on Sunday night. It's called the BOGP Open Line, or You, Me, and Scotty G. 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. We'll be taking your calls, so give us a holler on Sunday night. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. Give us a follow on the social media. Ricky's at Ricky Nibs. I'm at Be Our Guest Mike. Scott's at Ep Scott. Instagram, Twitter, Threads. We'll be looking for you over there. All right, time to get out of here and wish you a great Friday and an outstanding weekend until we get back together again. You guys all, please stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon.
You've been listening to the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. If you have questions, comments, or would like to be a guest on the show, please visit our website at beourguestpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you real soon.